Good morning, and welcome to the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of FightbackMedia.com, FightbackMedia.com, and FightbackMediaTV.com. We appreciate you being here today. It is the 3rd of November. It was the 3rd of November. A day. It was September. Sorry, wrong song. Uh, got the same rhythm to it though. Again, my name is Willie Lawson. We have some stuff to bring you here on the Morning Report. And today we're not going to talk about Twitter. Not going to talk about Twitter. We are going to talk about who broke into Katie Hobbs' campaign office. It is, I got to say, almost every day. It is fun. You know, if you take it in the right vein, it's fun how these things work out. My wife and I talk about this all the time. You know, the truth has always, the truth has always come out. All we have to do is be just a little patient. Rearranging my life here. All we have to do is be a little patient, and the truth will come out. It just does. Trump said that his office got spied on. Everybody, media lost their mind, and lo and behold, Carter Page's life was ruined because he was being spied on. He was being spied on. Just wait, cloth masks will protect us from the virus. No, we find out no. The vaccine will prevent us from getting the virus. No. All we had to do is wait. All we had to do was wait. And the truth fell out. No matter how much social media, legacy media tried to push the truth down, the harder they pushed, it just came out the outside. It's impossible to stop the truth. It is impossible to stop the truth. Truth will be known. And that's what we do here on the Morning Report. So the truth about who broke in to Katie Hobbs' campaign office is bound to come out. It has. We'll talk about that for sure, because that's actually kind of funny, really. Greta Thunberg, finally. Now, it's funny. A lot of us already knew what that whole climate change thing and Greta, what that was all about. But, eventually they can't help themselves and have to come out with the real reason behind all of this stuff. And it is frustrating, it's angering, it's frightening at a certain level. But it's better to know than to not know. And it's been happening for a long, long time, since your host was in elementary school, when we had Arbor Day and Ecology Day and Earth Day, and all these things have been building towards what we have now. And the real reason that Greta Thunberg is involved, has been put involved, of climate change activism. What it's really, really all about. We're going to explore all of these right after these messages. Thank you again for coming to the Morning Report. We'll be back in just a minute.
Well, hey everybody, my name is Willie Lawson, and you guys know that I do a lot of stuff on the internet. And you may think with what's happening on Twitter and what's happening on Facebook and what happened to Parler that the mainstream social media sources are really trying to rid themselves of conservative voices. And you'd be right, they most certainly are. Um, but you know what? It isn't as bad as you think it is. It's worse. But there are people who are willing to be platformed for free speech. One of those one of those places is freedomforum.website. Freedomforum.website. You can go there and speak your mind. So come join us. Enjoy the freedom. Enjoy the fun. If you are a true blue conservative, small businesses are near and dear to your heart. They are the lifeblood of our life and economy. I believe this, and that's why my florist is not a website or a phone number. My florist is Blooming Days Flower Shop, Tampa's premier flower shop. At 11618 North Florida Avenue here in Tampa, Florida, and at 6835 State Road 54 in Newport Richey. Call Christine at 813-933-1942 and at 727-232-6900. She can also be reached on the web at www.bloomingdays.com. One of the things that I get asked most is where can I get information that is not tainted with liberal bias, especially here in the Tampa Bay area. Well, now I have the answer. tbctampa.com, a website by and for Tampa area conservatives. Tampa's leading conservative voices speak freely at tbctampa.com, and you can too. So join the fun and enjoy the freedom at tbctampa.com. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report.
Okay, we're back. Thank you ever so much for, again, coming to the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. We appreciate that you are here today, watching on YouTube or watching on Rumble, listening on every podcast platform there is, from iHeart to Spotify to Castbox to Deezer to Apple, Google Podcasts. We're out there. We're out there. Y'all remember, oh, this thing right here is my my yoke for my flight simulator. I was able to take one of our old TVs and use it as a monitor. So my flight simulator is running on a monitor that's over here. So I'm running right now. I'm actually paying attention to what I'm doing. But I can run it over here while I'm researching stuff here. Love my life so much. I love what I get to do. So in any case, you remember this young girl talking at the UN, who I believe has Asperger's syndrome or something like that, which made her two things. She was a little girl, and she was young, and she was on the spectrum. So that made it hard for anybody to, I don't want to say attack her, but to push back at the things that she was saying, because it would be deemed as, oh, so you're going after a little girl now, right? So that's why they use children. That's why the leftist use children. Get my phone out of my pocket. It's uncomfortable. Um, but as she's growing up, becoming easier and easier to start pushing back against what she's saying. Um, Climate change activist Greta Thunberg who has been propped up by global elites and central planners since she was a child, is finally admitting her activism isn't about saving the environment. But we knew that. We don't. These people don't give a rat ass about the environment. Instead, it's about tearing down capitalism and implementing communist government controlled systems around the world. Now, I know for a lot of people, this is sort of this Illuminati, one world government, insanity, conspiracy theorist. Unfortunately, it's not all untrue. There are forces, people on the planet who want to control it all. Why? Because then they make all the money. Not that they make a lot of money, they make all of the money. And in order to make all of the money, they need all of the control. Michael Schellenberger tweeted, Greta Thunberg used to say her goal was to protect the planet from climate change, but now she admits is to overthrow the whole capitalist system, which she says is responsible for imperialism, oppression, genocide, racist, oppressive, extremism, not even sure what that is, extractionism, I'm not sure what that is. But it is their thought. They want to tell us that capitalism, which we know, and we're going to talk about the benefits of capitalism, is one of the best things that ever happened to humankind. Former California gubernatorial candidate Michael Schellenberger is explaining how capitalism has been a gift to humankind and how devastating Thunberg's ideology is to most of the world. In fact, the whole capitalist system has allowed for an average expectancy of humans to rise from 30 years to 70 years. Yes, in that has caused some change. But we're talking about in 1800, the average life expectancy was around 30 years. Those people didn't live a long time. And now people are expected to live on an average into their 70s. Into their 70s. Right? The whole capitalist system produces larger food surpluses than in any other time in history. We already produce enough food for 10 billion people, plus a 25% surplus. It's the capitalist system that has provided that opportunity for people. The whole capitalist system has resulted in declining emissions thanks to the transition from coal to natural gas. And so less deforestation for agriculture because we are producing more food on less land. This is proof that Greta hates capitalism for reasons that have nothing to do with climate change. I believe that the young person is being has been brainwashed. I don't mean in any weird way, like she's like Clockwork Orange, but a lot of these folks have been brainwashed by being washed in the propaganda over and over and over and over and over again. So we're talking about U.S. reduced emissions in reality more than it aimed under the 2009 cap and trade legislation craziness. So emissions in the U.S. are down below where we thought they'd be, even without cap and trade. Even global emissions have declined. Why? Because it makes sense economically to do as we move on from one thing to the next thing, because it makes economic sense to do. So what they're saying isn't happening is actually happening. So thanks to the left's and Greta's war on natural gas, Tellenberger tweets, this year will be a record year for coal globally. Europeans are burning garbage and wood to stay warm. And governments are nationalizing failing electricity consumption. It's a cluster. It's a nightmare. And these people are oblivious, or seemingly oblivious, to the pain and agony that they are causing many, many people around the world. The only hope for emerging nations, we have found, is not just charity, is capitalism, is putting folks in a position to direct their own destiny by having the resources by which to do so, by creating a product, by participating in trade, and by having the general thought pattern that is, if I work hard and I can sell my product at a profit, I can continue to grow my business. And that's really the only charities that I participate in, ones that don't just drop some food off at the door. Good luck. We're not really going to change your situation any. It's that Heifer Project, I think it is, that gets people, who are in these emerging nations, animals, so they can milk the cows and sell the milk and take care of themselves. Milk the cows, sell the milk. Capitalism. Your cow. Sell the milk for what you think we can get for it. So really, and Tellenberger tweets, in other words, the whole capitalist system is responsible for declining greenhouse gas emissions while moving away from the whole capitalist system through the stranding of oil and gas, and the nationalization of energy industries are resulting in higher emissions. Total deaths from and cost of natural disasters are going down. That means fewer extreme weather events count as natural disasters. Why? Because of the rising human development and the resilience to extreme weathers, thanks to the whole capitalist system. Now, I know that you guys saw the damage from Hurricane Ian, that the president couldn't read for some reason, or just didn't know. God bless him. But what we're going to see is, as much damage as it caused, we're going to see how quickly that area recovers. The area is not going to recover because of FEMA and government intervention. That area is going to recover because of a whole capitalist system. There is a benefit. There is a capitalist benefit. There's an economic benefit to all involved there to rebuild and renew and become more resilient. We saw that after Andrew. I don't know if you live in a part of the country where you don't get to see that stuff up close. Maybe you don't know. We saw that after Andrew. We saw the destructive powers of Andrew, and the capitalist system went into high gear to create, design, market, and sell all sorts of building materials and building thoughts that made us more resilient. The whole capitalist system. Just saying. Again, about food. We are producing significantly more food on less land, which means that it is more of the earth available for nature conservation and endangered species. The number of protected areas have increased 25 times since 1962. Why? Because of the rising productivity from the whole capitalist system. So the whole capitalist system is finding ways to produce more food on less land, quicker and more abundantly. Now, some will say, well, because you're using GMOs. GMOs haven't been, there's nothing that says that GMOs are dangerous to people, and farmers have been genetically modifying food since jump. They just didn't call it that. So Michael continues to tweet. So it's clear that these people don't care about climate change or the environment. If they did, they wouldn't be seeking to overthrow the whole capitalist system. They'd be seeking its expansion to places under the oppressive yoke of feudalism. Nothing has done more to liberate children, women, and racial minorities, sexual minorities, and other oppressed groups than the whole capitalist system. It was the whole capitalist system that put an end to feudalism and slavery and allowed for the prosperity that Thunberg disdains. Few things are as devastating for poor and oppressed people than the scarcity of energy and food, which is precisely what what Malthusian elites like Thunberg want. She urged nations to panic. They did. The result is worse food and energy in a crisis in a half century. That is so important. That these poor nations, these emerging nations, what they need to not be in their situation is a way to sustain themselves. And what this great reset is all about is that these folks in these emerging nations are not going to be able to sustain themselves. And that's just the truth. And a lot of the bleeding hearts are simply ignoring it while driving their Priuses and drinking their $8 Starbucks coffee. That's the reality. Kind of a hard way to start the morning report this morning, but you know, somebody's got to tell the truth. All right, we'll be back in just a little bit with more of the morning report right after these messages. Thank you. So is it okay now, because it was, I mean, during the Trump administration, it is okay to talk about the president's
yeah, we talked about mental health elderly, so let's talk about this guy mental health.
You know, the president's mental acuity, because there's sometimes where it seems to be lacking. Have you seen?
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it's especially bad. I mean, I'm talking about sometimes it's like really bad. Like, have you seen the picture?
I was told not to take any questions.
I was told not to take any questions. They told they're going to be mad at me.
They're going to be mad at me.
Mr.
President, are you the president, or were you five?
You see, what I want. See, the next question is, excuse me,
I was told to call on what you call for NBC. Who's telling you to call on?
That's the question that we ought to be asking. Who's telling you this?
I mean, I don't understand why nobody won't ask that question.
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Who's telling you to call on these people in the media?
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Probably so.
Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. We hope that you are well this glorious morning. It's beautiful out there. Nice. It's nice here too. We hope that you are well. Remember, every day is a great day. Just some days it's raining, and it's raining a little bit at my house. But so your prayers are appreciated. All right. Katie Hobbs and Carrie Lake. Katie Hobbs and Carrie Lake are running for governor of the state of Arizona. We knew that we found out later that there was a lot of shenanigans going on in the Arizona elections category. And Carrie Lake has been super loud about pointing these things out. And it sort of put her in the, it sort of put you in the crosshairs when you speak out that way. Ask Kanye West. When you speak out about certain things that, certain forces don't want you to speak out about, it puts you in the crosshairs. And it's a very difficult place to live. If you are a weak person, it's a very, very difficult place to live. A couple of weeks ago, Katie Hobbs, the Democrat, her campaign office got broken into. I don't know what they stole. I don't think it ever came out what was taken, if anything was taken, but it was broken into and sort of ransacked. And of course, you got it. They blamed Katie Hobbs, and if they didn't blame her campaign directly, they blamed the whole air of violence that they were promoting by being election deniers and pro-insurrectionists and all this stuff that the left continues to push because they got nothing else. They got nothing else. But like I said in the open, truth always comes out. Always does. Always does. So Arizona Republican gubernatorial candidate Carrie Lake is pointing out the irony of an illegal immigrant breaking into the campaign headquarters of her Democrat opponent and Secretary of State Katie Hobbs. From Lake's latest campaign email she sends. Irony alert. The suspected illegal immigrant burglar is on the streets yet again due to the insane pro-illegal immigration, pro-crime policies pushed by Katie Hobbs. Last week's burglary of Katie Hobbs' office, which she baselessly blamed without evidence on Carrie Lake, continues to blow up in her face. Today, 12 News confirmed that the suspect, who is in the country illegally, was granted bail and released out of custody of the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office before authorities with ICE even had a chance to issue a detainer to apprehend him. Now, according to ICE, Mota, his last name, is currently at large for administrative immigration violations for failing to maintain his status as a registered student at an academic institution. What remains unclear, 12 News reports, is why Mota was not held on an immigration detainer but released to the public. Katie Hobbs' wild gambit to blame Carrie Lake for the break-in is backfiring spectacularly. And now it appears that the suspect burglar of Hobbs' office is at large and is out on the streets yet again due to the insane pro-illegal immigration, pro-crime policies pushed by Katie Hobbs and the radical left. So all of this pro-immigration, which is really pro-illegal immigration nonsense being pushed by the left, is backed up like a toilet. And we're seeing it happen more and more. Back up like a toilet on the left. When the break-in occurred last week, Hobbs jumped to hold Lake responsible, and the media, local and national, immediately followed, as we reported. Lake called a press conference and did not mince words during her response to the false accusations. Carrie Lake says this: she put out a defamatory statement, and you all ran with it. You didn't do your journalistic duty. It was malpractice of journalism like I've never seen before. It was an effort, I believe, to influence this election. Many of you are an arm of the Democrat Party. Many of you are propagandists, and almost all of you should be ashamed, Lake said. Yesterday, my Democrat opponent filed a statement while I was in a meeting with police officers and firefighters working to make sure that our state is safe. She's pulling stunts, and you guys are falling hook, line, and sinker for them. She put out a statement about a petty theft that took place at her office. She knew darn well I had nothing to do with it. So she puts a statement out, and right away, your gatekeepers over at the Arizona Democrat Party jumped on it and put a statement out, which was a cue to you to go ahead and start running with it. Folks, this is media. This is media, which is why it is, my thought, so important, so incredibly important to ensure that independent conservative media not only exist, but thrive. One of the things that I remember about Andrew Breitbart was his concept of more voices, not just louder voices, but more. You know, I don't have, I know it's not going to sound this way when I say it. I don't have any problem with Glenn Beck and Mark Levin and the guys who took over Rush's time slot. I don't have any problem with any of them or anybody on Salem Broadcasting, Prager, any of them. But it's funny, I was having a conversation yesterday with somebody at work who's a Republican, who's a Christian conservative lady. And we were talking about social media. We're talking about, independent media and that kind of stuff. And all of these new things, what's happening over at Twitter, what's happening at Parler, what's happening at, Facebook and all these things, MeWe. And I said, all that's really happening is that people who already have large platforms are showing up and sucking all the air out of the room. They're sucking all the money, they're sucking all the air, they're sucking all the bandwidth out of the room. So when the Blaze, and help me, folks, I ain't got no problem with the Blaze. But the Blaze shows up on a brand new platform. All of you, maybe not all of you, people who are watching, I'm not talking about you, but a bunch of your friends go to the new platform and they're looking for something familiar. And the Blaze is there, so they're on the Blaze. So the new platform for the small creators and the micro creators like Paul and I, micro creators. Nothing. People talk a bunch of mess about YouTube and YouTube shadow banning creators like myself. So we put up videos on Rumble where there's not supposed to be shadow banning to similar results. So if those few of you who are watching this on Rumble, we get the same amount of views on YouTube as we get on Rumble. Why? Because the big creators have shown up and they're sucking all the air out of it. A lot of people aren't looking for the small and micro creators. Rumble has decided to do entertainment as well, which is their right to do, especially if they go public. I get it. But the importance of the small and the micro conservative creators is more important than ever. The independents is more important than ever. That aren't held up or beholding to advertisers or even donations. I'm not even asking for money. I went through that stage with my podcast. I'm over that. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for an extra $5 a month to help me pay my internet bill, or help me pay for the cost of the Zoom. That way I can do longer shows, or Spreaker, or to buy a new microphone, or cables, or computer. I'm not asking for you for any cash. That's the stage I'm over. I'm done with. The only thing that I'm asking is that we're asking, Paul and I are asking, is that if you watch, if you listen, please share. Hit the share button. Put it on your Facebook page. If you have Facebook, put it on your Facebook page. If you have MeWe, put it on. Put this program on your MeWe page, or Parler, or if you're still on Twitter, Twitter. If you're on Facebook, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, something. That's all we're asking. We don't have a marketing department. We don't have money to do marketing. We don't have money to run ads. We don't have resources to do that. But what we're saying we're not saying anything that isn't untrue. We're not saying anything that doesn't get proven correct. We don't say anything that's not proven correct. That's all we're asking. All right, we'll be back with more of the program right after these messages.